Now, if you're working in sales, you're probably working hard. You're probably working a lot more hours than the average person. Why? Because you want to make them sales, you want to earn that commission right at the end of the month or the end of the week. But what I found and what I've noticed between some sales reps is that you've got a category of sales reps who plan, invest and manage their money for the long term, and then you've got the other category who are on this treadmill. Okay, they earn their commission checks, they spend it the next week, and they're constantly on the hedonic treadmill. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to, one, manage and think about your commission checks for the long term as a salesperson. Overhitting your targets and absolutely crushing your sales goals is great. You know, we all have that drive and determination to actually do that as a salesperson typically. But what made me realize is that none of that actually matters if you don't even know where to start of planning and investing your commission checks for the long term. You could have a really good month in sales, and the next month it may not be so well. It's just how the role ebbs and it flows. So the importance of managing this will ultimately set you up for success for the next month, as it will have a better toll on your psychology knowing that you've already planned ahead. Sometimes we don't understand there is an issue until it is highlighted. So what I like to do is firstly identify whether you're in the obviously short-term category or the long-term category. Okay, if you're in the short-term category, that's fine. Hopefully you can learn some tips and tricks from this video that will help you think much more longer term about your commissions in these simple steps. So how I like to do this is firstly define what the long-term thinker actually is, because it can mean a plethora of different things. Okay, how I personally define it is somebody who has a plan generally for their commissions, and when they come in they already know where that money is going. They don't even have to think about it really, because it's all automated, whether that's using a spreadsheet or whether that's using an app. I personally like to use a combination of both, just to see what's going in and going out, and also how well I'm personally performing on a monthly basis. The short-term thinkers typically don't have any structure or plan with their commission checks. They all pilot into their monthly wage and commission, so they don't really know how well they're, one, actually performing, and two, how they're managing their money. It's not very effective, because even when they're looking to invest, they don't know exactly how much percentage of commission that's being invested, or whether that's their monthly wage. Maybe your scenario may be different, maybe you're working a commission only role, but this strategy will work for both. Now, how I like to manage this is by thinking of my commissions and by thinking of time and effort. Okay, what this basically means, right? Say if you was to make a £12.50 commission selling lights, for example, right, and you wanted to purchase a £650 coat, that would be 52 sales you would have to make to be able to buy that coat. However, if you took a step back and it was taking you so much time, effort, constant persistence to make those sales, you may take a step back and think, hey, maybe I can invest this money, put this money somewhere else, and probably just delay the coat. Okay, now this would allow you to obviously think much more longer term into the future, and it would also help you in your current role, because you would obviously now be working a little bit more harder. Maybe you would be trying to sell something a lot more high ticket to be able to look at the time and make the purchase of the coat a much more valid option. Now, if you was just to go outside or load up your phone, right, you would be bombarded with ads. The average person is exposed to about 40 to 400 ads per day, which is crazy. We're constantly being persuaded and almost pulled around like puppets to buy stuff that we don't really need, right? So how I like to think about purchases, delaying it for a week or two to see if I actually really need it, or do I want it, which is totally fine as well. But understanding that you have the ability to take a step back, you know, have some self-control and really assess whether you want that purchase or not, can often make you come to a better decision. Maybe you don't really need it and you just wanted it in the moment because you saw a nice advertisement. So having the ability and self-awareness to take a step back and really understand if you really need that item will help you as well manage your money for the long term. Now for me, I like to break down my income, my commissions and any side hustles that I may be doing into an easy to read spreadsheet, so it's visible and I can track it every single month. Now, I like to pull some of my spending from my bank, so using a Monzo or a Starling Bank, you can actually track how much you're spending through those apps, and I like to pull that information into a spreadsheet and include my income as well. Now guys, moving on to Excel, although it is the most boring application on planet Earth, it is very helpful on tracking our income and expenses, right? So I've broken it down into super simple steps. This is exactly what I use. Now all the numbers here are arbitrary, again, random figures that I've just popped into the spreadsheet. So for example, if you was making, you know, 2.5k a month, maybe you had a decent month for you, maybe you made £800 commission, maybe you got a little side hustle going on, taking over 100 quid a month. Now we've also included investments, so we can add any investments that we may have had into this column here, and then our fixed expenses, which we can populate in this column here, and then it will automatically fill out the total column for you. Okay, so very simple. Then what I like to do is look at my online banking, add any expenses that I may have obviously had during that month, total it up, and then I get my total expenses, for example. From that, this graph throughout the whole year will start to build out, and more importantly, you'll be able to see whether your commission checks are growing. So again, this is very important, because if you're motivated by money, then you'll be able to see if you're having good months and making some good money throughout the whole year. So it is good to stay on top of these things. You can break them down into percentages as well from these numbers. Maybe you want to allocate 20% of your total income towards investments. It's a very easy way to visually have a look at what's going on with your finances. So if you do want to have access to this spreadsheet, I'll put it in the description below. It's completely free. Just let me know if it helps you guys. Now the fourth tip I have is keeping on top of your tax. Maybe you're working a commission only sales job, and maybe you're self-employed. This is very important to keep on top of and do your tax returns every single year, because you're not treated like an employee, for example, when all that tax is done for you. So you can do a self-assessment online. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but again, you can go and have a look at different accountants and see how they can help you with your tax. It's important to do this, because even if you wanted to purchase a house or even rent a house, you would obviously need a proof of income first and foremost. And if you're self-employed but you're not one declaring you're self-employed, or even submitting tax returns and paying the tax, then essentially you're a ghost. Okay, there's no proof that you're making an income, so it'll be much harder to, you know, get things like properties and stuff. So, and also you don't want tax bills coming to you, delayed payments with HMRC. So it's always important to keep on top of your tax and seek out an accountant or doing themselves self-assessments each year to make sure you're ticking over and keeping on top of things. Now my last tip is to not spend money that you haven't yet received. Now often we could have made a sale and waiting for that commission to come into our accounts, but it's important not to account for that just yet until it lands your account. As we know, things in sales change, and you know, maybe a customer has refunded, or something within your policy may state that there has to be certain terms or requirements that allow you to have that commission. So it's always important to not go out of your way and start using debt essentially to fuel your wants, right? And have that patience, because it will pay dividends in the long term, and it will allow you to think much more longer into the future rather than just looking at the short term and every single week. Now these are the important tips to manage your commissions once they of course land into your account. But if you're still unsure of where and how to actually invest your money, I've linked a video just up here which goes and touches on all of those points regarding investing into stocks and shares. And also, if you haven't already, I've put a download link in the description below where you can download the commission planner as well. Thanks so much for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.